Hello and welcome to episode 68 of the Barndoor restoration. Last episode, I started on this panel, pressed in the ribs, and put a few of the bends in. Well, this episode, I have it, well, mostly finished. So this panel sets over the transmission, and it bridges from the cargo floor back to the engine area. So the cargo floor actually has a step up and back that spot welds the bottom of this panel. And the wheel wells set in and spot weld to the slip. And then there's trim panels that go back beside the engine, and they weld into this extension here. It's set on top of it like that. And they're spot welded on the side, but they actually had a couple beta welds and a spot weld, so I'm not sure how that was done. I think that was welded in after these were actually set in place, but it's kind of hard to tell. Now this panel has a channel for rubber seal, which I haven't made yet. And that channel goes around this edge and holds a rubber seal that seals to the cooling tins on the engine. And the side panel also has a channel for the rubber seal. And here's actually the original piece that sets here. It's set in there like that. And you can see the channel that's supposed to be in there. I also had a couple notches, so I haven't added that in yet. There's a notch there, and this is the original notch. I'm not sure what this one's for. I haven't looked at that yet. But I do know that they were hand cut. When they snipped them, they actually went past the corners a bit, and they actually cut up in the panel. So, but this one up here is for the throttle cable. There's a tube that goes through the cooling tin, and back through here, and it's very close, so it goes just at the bottom of that seal, and that notch is to clear it. Right there. Also, the vehicle identification number is stamped right here. So on barn doors, the number is stamped on this section. Later buses, it's actually stamped in the panel that goes here on the edge of it. This panel is a 20 gauge steel, although it is much thinner in spots like this where it's stretched. I was able to save these back corners, and the reason I really wanted to save those is there's a lot of rippling. When they pressed that, the metal kind of rippled in these spots. And that's quite different bus to bus. I'm looking at photos of these old barn doors, and some of them are buckled way up into here. And in other ones like this one just had this corners buckled. I also did notice that some of these have buckling in the metal here, which I did not add in, but this one clearly has some ridges when it was pressed. And the other side had a little bit also. So they were a pretty crude panel. So when I started this panel, I didn't have a lot to work with. There's this piece here, and there's this piece, which is set over here, and there's this piece set in here. And these pieces were just too far gone to be usable. Well, it's pretty obvious how bad they were. But even in these areas are very thin, and when we put up the light, it's full of little pinholes. If I media blast this would be very thin metal and not really usable. So that's where they go. Now I was able to save these back corners, though I did have to do a lot of work on them, patching sections of them. I was able to save the VIN, which is good, but I did have to replace both sides of the VIN. And I was able to save that section over on that side with some patching. And I really wanted to do that so I could keep this the original rippling in the metal here from the pressing. It was kind of important for me to have that original look. So with it in such bad shape, I decided to make this whole back panel, press it out of one piece of steel. And last episode I had pressed in the ribs, put these bends in it, but I had a lot of rippling in here, which I thought I might be able to take some out by adding this bulge. So this extra metal I had in here from pressing the ribs, I thought it would take up. That didn't work. I thought about putting some relief cuts And I decided, no, there's no point to it. I'll make this separate piece. I just cut it out. And that allowed me to get this panel flat, or flat-ish. So by shrinking this edge here, I was able to bring it back down pretty close. It's still, I mean, there's still a little bit of wobble in there, but it's easily pushed out of it. So when I go to spot weld the firewall in, this will go flat, because I can hold it flat by just pushing on it. It's not much strength there, it's pretty floppy. So I cut that section out, got it as flat as I thought it needed to be, added the lip on the side, so I just rolled that over, and then welded in these back pieces. Well, I had to repair the back pieces, which is quite a bit of work, and then weld those in. And then I started to do this. Now, the original section I rolled in here, I was able to reuse that. Actually, once I had it cut loose, I was able to shape it the way I wanted it. I did end up with a little too much curve. I had to flatten it out, but it went pretty good. So, but once it was cut away, I could actually shrink the metal with the shrinker and roll this in the English wheel a little easier, and then tip these edges on it with the bead roller, the tipping die. We've rolled those on, and that came out pretty good. I'm quite happy with how that all worked out. And then I was able to weld it back in. Now, welding it back in, I ended up with too much material on both sides and here, and I had to do a little heat shrinking. I just have a little propane torch, heat it up nearly red, with hammer and dolly, flatten the metal out, and then cool it. It works fairly good. I hate doing it, but it does work. These were really, really bad because there's so much extra metal right in this area on both sides. So I was able to shrink that back down to get it flat. If I was doing this again, I would do just these ribs back here. I'd make a seam straight across this. Well, actually, I'd probably go a notch and go right through here. And the reason for that was when I press ribs in, because it's trying to pull the metal, but on these ends it's not. So you end up with extra metal, which makes it go kind of wobbly. But if you have access, you can shrink the metal in those areas and pull it right flat again. It's very easy to do, and I was able to do it on this end quite easily. Because I pressed it with these ribs in also, I couldn't get in here to shrink it, and this is really where my problems arose. So doing it again, I would put a seam straight through here, and I wouldn't have all that problem I had with the extra metal. That's probably half my time was spent trying to fix that. Really what I should have done is, once I got to that stage from last video, is actually make a whole new panel. Probably would have been faster, because then I could have made this piece and then made this section here as a separate part. But it worked out, just extra time. All these panels are learning experience. Everything I do, I think, well, if I was doing that again, I'd do it differently. It'd be a lot faster. but I am happy with how it come out. And I still have quite a bit of work to do on it. I have to add the notch in over here. It's pretty easy. I have to build a channel, a little piece of channel. So the channel I had to remove. I have to build a new one of those. Now, I had to do that on my 64 also, and I made the channel straight and then curved it. That was a lot of trouble. And on this one, I think I'm going to cut the piece of metal to the curve and then tip the edge on with a bead roller. So I actually make it in the curve that matches this. I think it'll be much easier. So I have that channel and notch there to put in. I have some holes to put in. I think they're on this panel. Yeah. So they're here, but they're quite rusty. But there's a hole for the battery cable and the wiring harness. I'm not 100% sure which one's what. I think this is the battery cable one and that's the harness one, but it could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure on the hole. One side looks like it's original hole and the rest is rotted. This one looks like there's a little bit of original hole there, so I'm going to use those dimensions and hope they're correct. There's also a hole over here for the drain pipe to come down. And I'm not 100% sure of the location. I think I have it within probably 3 or 4 millimeters back and forth, and probably within 10 millimeters side to side. In reality, it doesn't matter. It's coming down the panel on an angle and going through. And the size I'm not 100% sure of. In fact, I'm not even sure if it's a round hole. It could be oval, because the pipe is going on an angle through it. So it could be round and just kind of stuck through, or it could be oval to fit the pipe closer. So I'm not sure about that, and not 100% sure on the size of these, but well, I'm 99% sure of the size of those. But, so these need to be drilled in. Also, there's a part back here. This piece here gets notched out in 2 sides, so both sides gets notched out, and that is for the Y pipe for the heater. So the hot air off the exhaust is picked up, and it comes down through both sides into a Y pipe. And actually, on this one, this side actually comes up above the floor, but on a lot of the, say the panels and combis, it actually goes down through into a Y. So as this pipe comes up over this tube, it notches in to this front edge just a little bit. So I have to add those notches in, but I'll do that when I have the Y pipe in. When the Y pipe's in place and I get the rear floors fitted, then I'll mark it. I'll notch those. So one area that I have to deal with is where this VIN is stamped. 3 of the digits were stamped really deep, and one of the dashes was stamped extremely deep. And the metal from the back is rusted, although it feels nice and thick. And where the stamped so deep, it actually rusted the material on the back. And if I hold up to the light, before I sprayed zinc on both sides, if I held up the light, I can see pinholes through the bottom of the digits where they're stamped. So I need to do something with that, but I can't affect these numbers at all. So the plan at this point, I think, is to put a few more layers of zinc on here so the numbers are filled nicely. They get some protection. Clean the backside off and put a very thin layer of JB Weld or some other material. I know JB Weld, you can put it on, you can sand it. It doesn't sand good, but it can be sanded once it's hard. And it works. There might be a better material. If anybody knows, please let me know. But I'm going to try it. And once the JB Weld is hardened up and sanded smooth, I can just media blast this side with some very fine crushed glass. So it won't affect the metal, but it'll take the soft zinc out. And then I can just put a new thin layer of zinc. And that should protect, that thick zinc in there will protect anything from getting into the pressings, the numbers. So anyway, that's the plan there. And see if that, to protect that. And because right now, even though putting paint on it fills the holes, if you get paint chips from the back side, rust there would be it'd be a very bad area to get rust. You would never want rust in your VIN. I was very lucky that that's still there, because there's that level of rust, so it wasn't going to be much longer and it was going to be disappeared. This was also been hacked out, way down into here. When someone hacked a hole in this section. So between the rust and being hacked apart, I was lucky that existed. Well, that is what I've accomplished for this episode. Overall, very happy with the panel. Much more work than I had hoped, but it came out in the end. I did know it was going to be a pain, but and I would do it differently going forward, but still, I'm happy with how it came out. I'm happy to have it done. A few little details to finish off on it, but not bad. I did drawings for this. I uploaded them GrabCAD. Link in the description for my GrabCAD files. There is a few things with dimensions that have question marks. The position and size of the drain hole, cutouts for the Y pipe, and I think the size of these 2 holes, although I'm pretty sure they're accurate. Not 100% though. So if you're using my drawings, make sure you have the latest version, because there's little things like that as I find more information, I'll fix. And usually they're not big changes, won't really make any difference to anyone, but it's better to have the latest version. Next episode, I'm going to do the wheel wells, get those finished off. I am in the planning stage of these cargo panels. I've decided how I'm going to do it. I need to get some material. There are more than half a sheet of steel, so I need the 2 4x8 sheets of steel to make the 2 panels. So I need to pick up steel, and I have to make long dies for pressing, because I'm going to press the ribs in. It does a better job, and it's faster than using the bead roller. And because the ribs come almost to the edge on every one, it's very easy to deal with the extra material. So that's coming soon, but next episode will be the wheel wells, or at least one of them. Well, that wraps up another video. Keep watching for some work being done and some detailed shots. Thanks for your comments, appreciate them, and thanks for watching.